Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the video. Today's vehicle is a 2017 Ford Escape. It's in for a full detail as well as a ceramic coating, so let's have a look around. Alright, so as you guys can see, this Escape is pretty well covered in dirt from front to back. We've got some carpeted wheel well liners to deal with that are holding onto a pile of dirt, and the winter wheels are still on the vehicle, so I'll be getting those swapped over for the summer wheels. Plus, this customer has also opted for a complete engine bay detail, so I'll be getting that fully detailed as well. And like I mentioned, I'll also be putting a ceramic coating on this Escape. Now moving inside, and besides the filthy floor mats, there's quite a bit of dirt and debris in here, along with a fair amount of dog hair all around the vehicle and some dirty leather seats to deal with. But just before we jump into the detail, take a quick second and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you've got the bell on so you get notified when my new videos go live each week. Alright, well, I'm definitely looking forward to getting this vehicle coated. I can't wait to see how good it looks when I'm done. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So similar to the last few vehicles you've seen, I'm running my ozone machine before I get started on the detail for my own protection, and then I'll do another treatment once I'm done the detail. And like I mentioned in the opening, I'll be putting a ceramic coating on this vehicle today, which means I'll need to correct the paint beforehand, so I'll get started on that once the vehicle is washed and dried, and once I've got the engine bay detailed too. Now unfortunately, this Ford has carpeted liners in the wheel wells, so as you can see, they were holding onto an absolute pile of dirt. And for those of you wondering why car manufacturers do this, it's to reduce road noise, but I would much prefer the noise over having to deal with the dirt that they hold. Now a little bit later on in this video, you're going to see these winter wheels get swapped out for the customer's summer wheels. And if you guys didn't already catch the wheel cleaning video I put up on the second channel on Tuesday, I would recommend giving that a look after this video, as I showed exactly how I went about deep cleaning them and protecting them with a ceramic coating. Now, even though I'm going to be swapping these wheels out later on, I'm still going ahead and getting them cleaned up as best I can for the owner, so that way when they put them back on the vehicle next fall, they'll at least be clean. Alright, so with the vehicle washed, the next step is an important one, and that's to chemically decontaminate the paint to remove any iron particles before polishing it. So after spraying on some Meguiar's iron decon spray and letting that sit for a few minutes, it's going to react with the iron and dissolve it, turning purple in the process, and then I'll simply just spray it off afterwards. Now this step isn't something you need to be doing on your vehicle every time you detail it, but it's a critical step when you're going to be polishing and applying a ceramic coating. Alright, so turning to the dirty engine bay now, and this isn't something I've shown much on the channel, so I'm glad that this customer opted for an engine bay detail. And the first step here is to get the entire engine bay covered in some degreaser, and then I'll let that sit for a minute or two to give it a chance to break down the dirt and gunk. Next up is to go over all the flat surfaces with my wheel brush, and I'll basically use this anywhere that it'll fit. Now I'm using my smaller Speedmaster brush to get down into all the tighter areas, and then once I'm done with this brush, I'll go around with a detail brush to get anywhere that I haven't gotten with the other two brushes. Now with everything clean, I'll go ahead and simply rinse down the entire engine bay, and it's important to note that you don't want to let your degreaser dry, so you definitely have to work quick. And yes, it's perfectly safe to use water on your engine bay. Vehicles nowadays are designed for this, but keep in mind I'm not using high pressure water that would force water places that it shouldn't be. Then I'll just quickly use my leaf blower to get rid of the majority of the water, and then simply finish drying things off with a microfiber towel. With everything dry, I'm using some 303 aerospace protectant for all the black plastics and hoses to dress them and really make this engine bay pop. Alright, with the engine bay finished and fully detailed, I'll start on the floor mats, and with the amount of dog hair in them, I have to go over them with the lily brush first to get all that pulled out. And as you can see, these things work really well. So if you guys have pets and struggle with hair removal, the link for the lily brush is in the description for you, so feel free to give that a look if you're interested. Now rather than using the Bissell on these mats, I decided to blast them with the pressure washer as it's the far quicker option, but also because they were so dirty, extracting them wouldn't have gotten them near as clean. Alright, so moving back to the paint and using some of my Pinnacle detailing clay, I'm starting on the manual decontamination of the paint, and even though I chemically decontaminated it earlier, I still need to do this step as there may be some surface bonded contaminants stuck to the paint, such as tar, tree sap, bug gut remnants, that sort of thing. So the clay will easily and gently remove those. The whole idea with decontaminating the paint is to get it as clean as possible before using my polisher on it, and as you can see, there really wasn't a whole lot left on this paint. Now with the vehicle clayed, I'm using my swirl finder light to visually inspect every inch of this paint so that I know exactly what I'm dealing with for swirls or scratches. And while I'm going around the vehicle doing this, I'm thinking about which pad and product combo I'm going to test first based on the level of defects that I'm seeing in the paint. And then once I've done my test spot and decided which combo will give me the results I want, which in this case is going to be a microfiber cutting disc and Griot's Garage fast correcting cream, I'll put a couple of dots on my pad, work in sections of about 2 by 2, starting by spreading the product around the section, and then I'll turn the speed on the polisher up to about 5 or 6 and make anywhere from 4 to 6 passes in both directions. Now with the polish residue removed, I'll once again inspect the paint and ensure that I'm seeing the results that I want. And in this case, it's looking absolutely perfect and there isn't a swirl or scratch to be seen. And for those of you who aren't familiar with ceramic coatings, polishing the paint is a critical step in the process as the coating is semi-permanent and it'll last for about 2 to 3 years. So it's very important to properly prep the surface and ensure that you aren't locking in any swirls or scratches for the life of the coating. Now since I know some of you would want to see how fast I'm going with the polisher, I've slowed this down to real time so you can see the speed I'm working at. And remember that with paint correcting, you want to let the pad and product do the work for you. You don't need to be putting tons of pressure on the polisher, but you do need to move slow enough that you're giving it a chance to actually polish and level the clear coat. Now satisfied that the paint is absolutely flawless now and there isn't a swirl to be seen, the next step is to remove any polish residue that might be remaining on the paint, and this is usually referred to as an IPA wipe down. And again, this is a critical step as now that the paint is corrected, we need to make sure it's perfectly clean so the ceramic coating can properly bond to it. So here's the ceramic coating that I use, and that's CarPro C-Quartz 3.0 UK edition. And I've used this on quite a few of my customers' vehicles as it's definitely one of the more highly regarded ceramic coatings on the market. So getting some of the coating applied to the micro suede cloth, I am carefully making sure to apply an even layer to the paint, working in small sections. And for those of you who may not know what a ceramic coating is, they are a semi-permanent glass coating and are pretty much all the rage in the detailing world right now. But that is for good reason, as they typically last anywhere from 2 to 10 years and provide the vehicle with a ton of gloss, hydrophobicity, self-cleaning properties, UV protection, and more scratch resistance as the coating is harder than the vehicle's clear coat. And if any of you like to keep your vehicle looking its best, this is a product I would very highly recommend and is in fact something you can do yourself along with the paint correction. So if you're curious, I've got the link to the coating and nearly every other product and tool that I use down in the description for you. Now after applying the coating on a section of the vehicle, I check with my light to see when the coating flashes, which can be a difficult thing to notice, and how long that takes is going to vary depending on the air temperature and humidity, but once it has, I just simply wipe off the residue with a microfiber towel, and I'll actually end up throwing this towel in the garbage when I'm done, because when the coating that's in the towel dries and hardens, it will basically be like shards of glass in the towel, and it will not be safe for any sort of use on a vehicle. Alright, so with the coating fully applied to the vehicle, I can get started on the interior now, and as usual, I'm starting by removing all of the customer's personal items that were left in the vehicle. Now I'm once again using the lily brush here before I vacuum the rear floor liner, as it was covered in hair, and trying to vacuum that up would be a very time consuming and painful thing to do. Now up here in the driver's footwell, the dirt and debris were absolutely deeply embedded in this carpet. And like I've probably mentioned before, Ford uses really cheap carpet in the Escapes. So thankfully the floor mat did its job well, and I only had to worry about the little strip around where the mat sits. Now for these dirty pedals, I'm blasting them with steam and a stiff brush, which will make super quick work of them. And using the steamer is also a lot of fun. So for anyone who may be in the market for one, the link to the McCulloch MC1375 unit that I use is in the description if you're interested. It really can't be beat for the price, considering the quality and how versatile of a tool it is. Now to revive the faded exterior trim and make it pop, I'm applying some 303 aerospace protectant, and as you can see, it only takes a few seconds and this trim is instantly looking brand new again. Now just before I finish up, I'm changing out the winter wheels for the summer wheels, and like I mentioned earlier, if you want to see how I went about cleaning these and putting the ceramic coating on them, make sure you check out the video on the second channel. The link is in the description for you. Alright guys, and 14 hours later, this escape is looking insanely good. It is super glossy. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Enjoy the guitar outro, and I'll see you guys in the next one.